Hi there, it's a fairly grey, rainy Friday morning here in Brighton, but I thought I would send you a recording, which I've been meaning to do for some time, so apologies for it not coming through sooner. Anyway, I hope you're having a good summer, and I hope you're having some time away from work as well, but I'm also hoping too that you are able to spend a little time reading and preparing for the next stage of preparing for your dissertation, the final year for the BA PSLD. So what I'm going to do is talk through what I think are some of the key things that I'd like you to be thinking about ahead of our next meeting on the 4th of September, and really give you the opportunity to kind of think a bit more about the focus of your proposed dissertation, and then in order to a kind of another iteration of where your thinking is and what your intended focus and possible research question is. This is helpful for us in terms of making sure that we've got the right supervisor for you, and we're just in the process of confirming those. But also that process of continuing to refine and be clear about what you're looking at in your research, in your dissertation, in your inquiry, is really important, and that's what this first part of the module is all about. So each of you I know have sent me through some details about where your thinking is. Some of you are in a sense quite clear. I've got a very clear focus about your proposed research, and some of you are still got a much kind of more generalised focus, if you like, or in fact maybe not completely sure about what the focus of your research will be. In a sense, what I would hope is that you're somewhere between those two extremes. If you're really, really tightly focused at this stage, it can restrict the extent to which your ideas develop as you read more. And similarly, if your focus is so broad and so wide, then that's quite hard work for you to then focus your reading in order to kind of clarify a tighter kind of research question. So ideally, you would be wanting to be at this stage have an area that you're interested in, an area that's relevant to your work, an area that you feel passionate about. For goodness sake, you're going to have to read and write so much on this that unless it's something that you're keen on, you will soon get bored. And when just before I sat down at the desk, I was kind of, you know what I'm like about drawing diagrams. Well, in order for me to think about helping you, I came up with this diagram. I don't know whether you can see that. I think probably on your left-hand side, you'll see the three interlocking cogs of read, write and reflect. When I was thinking about this on the driving over just now, I wondered whether they should be a circle, if you like, with those three elements, read, write and reflect. But then I realised I wasn't sure which came first. And actually, the more I thought about it, the more I realised, both for myself and other people, that process of reading, writing and reflecting, it kind of happens in different ways. I really, really cannot strongly recommend enough, though, that you do need to spend time doing each of those. You need to spend time reading as much as you can. You need to write as a result of that reading. That process of writing helps you develop your thinking. And at some level, there's a process of reflecting. Some of you that may be as you're reading, as you're writing. Some of you may be at a distance, or like me, if you're driving or if you're digging the garden or walking the dog or whatever it is you're doing, in the gym, as I was this morning. Any time where you notice that your own thought patterns kind of start processing what's going on. What you're aiming for then is reaching a position of what I've called here of a position of focus. In your research proposal, you're saying, okay, this is the position that I'm adopting in relation to my research. It has this particular focus, and within that broader focus, I'm looking at this particular issue. This is my position. And I'm adopting that position, if you like, in relation to different theory and practice. So it's trying to articulate even more where you stand in relation to a particular issue, and therefore how you wish to research it, how you wish to investigate it, how you wish to develop that thinking in that area. So the first foremost is reading. What we are eventually aiming for, of course, is you to complete, I don't know if you can see this. This is the template that I've given you before. This basically is the first assessment task, and that is due in on the 17th of September. So when we meet on the 4th of September, we'll go through this again in detail. But you've seen it already, I know, because I posted it on Student Central. Broadly, what we're looking for is for you to define the rationale for your research, why you're interested in that research area, and why it's important to you, but also why it's important to other people as well. As part of research community, you're entering into a field where your work may well be read by other people, and you will be reading other people's work, and you will become an expert in the field that you're researching. So what we're interested in is you researching an area which is of practical application to obviously to you, but also to other people, and really developing our understanding of education and teaching and learning and so on in Guernsey and elsewhere. The form asks you to think about then three main areas: context and discourses, policy, and theory and practice. And I just want to say a little about each of those, because those in a sense help you think about the reading that you're going to be doing. Okay, so context and discourses. This often relates to sort of some broader ideas about what seem to be the current trends in a particular area. Now, those trends in a particular area may not always be rigorously researched and rigorously theorised. Sometimes those trends come about by, in a sense, ideas that are then seized upon or become accepted practice without really being questioned. So within the field that you're looking at, think about what are those current trends, current contexts which define the area. Discourses, if you like, is another word which means kind of underpinning ideas. So we're trying to look up behind a particular issue what seem to be the current relevant issues that define that, both in the context and in terms of current thinking. So that's the section called context and discourses. Some of those themes might be political issues, political debates as well. Policy is more focused in terms of the way it relates to, in your sense, what happens in Guernsey, the way that particular governmental or even school-based policies define the focus of work, define the focus of practice. So for many of you, there will be specific policy that you want to draw upon. For others of you, it may be that you're, in a sense, drawing upon UK policy in the way that UK policy influences Guernsey policy. And by UK, we know that sometimes that might mean England and Wales, it might even be Scottish policy or Northern Ireland. And you might even draw upon, Guernsey may even be influenced by policy from elsewhere in the world. Theory and practice then is the area where we're looking at what are the key underpinning theories or the key research elements which demonstrate a particular thinking in relation to practice. We're wanting to look at how the practice in your particular field is defined or influenced by theory, and this is the area particularly where we're going to be expecting you to draw upon other research articles and other theories that have been developed, particularly in more recent times. So in this assignment, in this first assignment, the reason why we've split the assignment into two halves is before you start thinking about how you're going to research, we want you to think about, so what is it you're researching? And the what you're researching has to be defined or has to be located in what else is being written about in that particular field and where thinking is in relation to that field. And this is where you have to be really careful about your own opinions. You and I, we know, I certainly have very strong opinions about certain things, but we have to be very careful when we're presenting our research proposals that these are not opinion-based. We also have to be careful about making assumptions. Watch out for when you say, I know this is the case. Well, how do you know that's the case? What's that based upon? It may be based upon your own observations of your practice, but you'll need to draw upon other people's writings, other people's theories, other policy to demonstrate that this isn't just your own hobby horse, your own soapbox that you're climbing on. So what I'm looking for then is to help you define more closely the focus and position that you're adopting in relation to your particular field of research. And when we meet on the 4th of September, I'd like you to be kind of certainly substantially towards defining that. Your assignment is due in only 2 weeks after that anyway, and I want to give you those last 2 weeks to kind of refine the filling in the form and so on. So I'm going to ask you if you could to email me again. Let me just check on my diary. Just before we meet on the 4th of September. So the 4th of September is on a Tuesday. So if you could you email me by Friday the 31st of August? A kind of review of where you're up to. When you write your literature review in your main dissertation, your main inquiry document in KV615, the actual dissertation itself, this will be one of the largest sections of the literature review, and it's usual to present it under kind of 3, 4, 5 thematic headings. So at this stage, I'd like you to say, look, Mark, the focus of my research is this, it's going to be in this area, and the key themes that I'm exploring are, and they may be policy themes, they may be theorised themes, they may be research themes, but if you can, give me 3, 4, 5 different themes which influence and define that focus and that position you're taking. I've already matched you to supervisors back here in Brighton, and the intention is that they will then meet with you on the 6th of October when you're coming over on that Saturday. I'll be there as well, so we'll have that day together. But that will be the opportunity for you to meet your supervisor. They will have seen the outline of your proposal at that stage, and they'll be wanting to kind of talk with you about how your thinking is going. Of course, that will be ahead of you then putting in the Task 2 submission, which is the methodology, how you're actually going to do the research. Okay, so I think that's about it. Do email me. I'm around all summer. I'm not in work very much. I've come in this morning. It's now about 9:30 this morning, Friday morning. Apart from a few days out here and there, going over to Sweden to see my brother, which I'm looking forward to. Apart from that, I'm around all summer. And if you do email me, hopefully I should be able to get back to you fairly soon. And really looking forward to working with you over this next year. More and more the work I do is based around supporting people in their research and really helping people develop their passion, the focus of the work that they want to do. And this is your opportunity at the end of your degree, the last stage of your degree, to actually explore an area which means a lot to you and to really devote some time in a very focused way to a particular research interest. I hope this has been useful. As always, email me back to say, tell me more about this, or can you give me some pointers on this? If I can, I will. And if I don't speak to you before, I'll see you on the 4th of September. But if you could, please do email me with an outline of your research focus. And don't worry about the methodology, how you're going to do it yet. We'll move on to that. But the kind of focus of your research, what you're going to be researching, what you're going to be looking at in particular detail if you can. And then kind of, as I said, 3, 4, 5 themes or kind of issues which define that focus. And I look forward to working with you over the coming year and seeing you soon.